Esther 414 Ministries. This is Tracy. Hey, thanks a lot for watching. You guys are so encouraging to me, and I just can't say thank you enough. Let me ask you guys a question, all right? Have you ever gotten yourself into maybe, say sin, all right? Okay, and it's like haunted you for a while, and you can't seem to break free, and then things just seem to be crumbling down on you, and you're just like, God, where are you? Help me, please. Well, this is what's happening in this story that I'm going to be jumping into here. Let me read this verse to you, and then I'll explain a little bit more of what's going on here. We're in Judges chapter 6, verse 12, and this is what it says. The Lord is with you, you mighty man of valor. Well, this is an angel speaking to Gideon. Gideon is in this the shed, the shelter thing down in the ground. And he is sifting wheat. Well, that is not where you would sift wheat. You would do it outside because when you throw it up, the chaff from the wheat blows in the wind and there's a lot of dust everywhere. So I am imagining when he's doing this down there, there's dust everywhere. He probably has something over his nose so he doesn't choke to death from all the wheat chaff stuff blowing everywhere. And he looks at the angel and he's just like, are you kidding me? Really? Why am I down here? Where's God? Down there sifting this wheat because he's in fear. Why? Because the Amalekites and the Midianites, they have been coming in like locusts, swarming, just going over the land, taking all of what the Israelites had, all of their food, all of their cattle, all of everything. And they were kind of helpless to do anything about it. So he's down there trying to scavenger what he can so they would have something to eat in his family. So he looks at the angel and he's like, what in the world? But what was going on here? See, the angel of the Lord is speaking to Gideon as God saw Gideon. He sees him as a mighty man of valor. That's not what Gideon sees. He's like, I think you're talking to the wrong guy here, all right? Why don't you go on to the next one? Why don't you talk to one of the Amalekites or anything going on there? Because, I don't see God here. But the angel of the Lord is trying to encourage Gideon and saying, no, really, you are the guy. Okay, God's going to use you to rescue Israel from what's been going on here. And so what happens? Well, we know Gideon's fleece. And if those of you who don't know that, Gideon was he was nervous, to say the least, okay, to do what the angel was going to ask him to do. And so he asks, well, okay, now if you really are with me, Lord, allow me to put out this fleece and all the ground around it in the morning is going to be dry, and the fleece is going to be wet. So God appeases him because, see, God knows our humanity. He knows we can be a little fearful at times, So the next morning he gets up, and what happens? Well, there's this fleece, and it is soaking wet, so much so he can wring all this water out into a big bucket, all right? And the ground around it was completely dry. And if you know anything about mornings, normally there's dew on the ground. So this really was a real miracle. But that really wasn't enough for Gideon. Gideon goes one more step. And he goes, please don't be angry with me, Lord, now. Would you appease me and maybe do it one more time, but do it the opposite way this time? So God allows him to have this sign so he knows God truly is with him. So the next morning he goes out. The fleece is completely dry, and the ground around him now is wet. Again, this is another miracle from God. But, okay, that's it. He's like, all right, Gideon, now let's move. It's time to act, all right? I've given you my signs. You know I'm with you. And see, a lot of times, guys, we're not seeing what God sees in us. We're just seeing us. We're seeing what we can do. We're limited by what we can fathom, by what we can imagine is able to happen, what we could accomplish in our strength. We know our strengths, we know our weaknesses. God, this isn't a real big strength of mine. In fact, this is a weakness. Maybe you might want to try somebody else, but no, see, that's not what God sees. He says, because you're weak there, I can work through you because you have to completely rely upon me. This isn't going to happen without you relying on me. And I'm going to work through you in a miraculous way that you could never even fathom. But so many of us, we're wanting to hold back and limit what God is asking of us, saying, you move forward and do this. You trust me. You walk forward in faith. And I'm telling you, I'm going to do such miraculous wonders through you that even you are going to be amazed. Not just all the people around you, but you yourself will be amazed. Guys, we have to trust the Lord in what He sees in us, not what we see in us. And see, that's where we get into some problems, where it's the big I. It's I am going to do this. No, you are going to do nothing. In fact, you're going to fall flat on your face if you do rely upon you. But if you rely upon the Lord and you cry out to Him and you say, Lord, I can't do this. Can you help me? He will help you. So guys, from now on, start seeing yourself as God sees you, which is more than able through Christ. You can do all things. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this has helped you out and maybe even encouraged you to move forward with what He's asking you to do. This has been Tracy from Esther 414 Ministries.